Released nearly a decade ago, Black Box's Need for Speed The Run was supposed to be the game that puts the series in a new, different direction with a full story, fully voiced characters, and a new sense of gameplay immersion, courtesy of DICE's Frostbite 2 engine. What many people didn't know or care for is that there were also versions for the Wii and 3DS developed by Firebrand Games. The Nintendo versions, although very different in the gameplay and graphics, department from the PC, PS3 and 360 versions, still retain the story of a cross-country race for survival and riches, but have a different cast of characters and some altered plot points in the story. In this video, I will be covering the story of Need for Speed The Run Wii version. So let's start. The game starts out with Matthew. I don't know his last name, so let's just call him that. He's sitting on a dock in San Francisco when his car is pushed into the water. He swims up and there is a woman standing on the dock, telling him that they have to get to the start of the race. In between, it's just races and cop chases. Eventually, they get to Yosemite National Park where they encounter a blue Mustang boss. The driver runs them off the road. They take off after him and run him off the road, only to find he has disappeared. Matthew takes his car as they drove 100 miles off course. They take a shortcut and jump an impossible gap and avoid an avalanche. As they stop to get gas in Death Valley, Matt notices a locked briefcase in the trunk. It's the woman's briefcase, and she refuses to tell him what's inside. So continuing the story, they leave the gas station. Matt argues a bit with the girl about the locked briefcase, asking what's inside. A little while later, they run into their rival again, this time in a gray Challenger. They run him off the road again and make up time to get to Las Vegas. Once they get there, they see the same gray Challenger again. This time, Matt attempts to end it with him, but hesitates. It turns out he knows him. The girl leaves their Mustang at a motel and they acquire a red Camaro. As they make it out of Las Vegas, the girl tells him to pull over and tells Matt to tell him the story. They used to be friends when they race around tracks. Matt was dating his younger sister and she took a car to race it, only to end up killing herself in a crash. Her brother blamed him for the wreck and he was suspended from racing. And now he's out for revenge. He suddenly appears and pulls Matt out of the car. Matt challenges him to a race, he wins, and the rival leaves. Matt and the girl encounter cops while racing in Colorado. With a helicopter shooting at them, Matt has no other option but to throw a 7-iron golf stick at it, destroying the helicopter. They race up into the mountains to avoid the cops, only to again meet up with the rival. Matt passes him and the rival loses control and runs off the road. The girl makes Matt go back and rescue him. They almost drive off a cliff, and the Chevy Camaro's suspension is totaled. The girl acquires a Nissan GTR in Denver as they head to the next leg of the race. While driving there were some black vehicles following them, with the sides reading DeMarco Trading. The vehicles belong to the mob. Matt is chased by the mobsters, so he loses them in Mount Rushmore. As they lose the mobsters, Matt starts asking why they might be following them, and the girl starts acting kind of suspicious. Matt says he just wants to talk to them, when all of a sudden there is a mob van with a guy firing rockets at them. Matt loses the mobsters when he jumps into a freaking train. The GTR is totaled, and oh so conveniently enough, there is an Aston Martin 177 in the train. They stop for gas and are back in the race. They pull into a motel for the night, and while Matt is sleeping, the girl steals the car, writing "I'm sorry" in the mirror. Luckily, the rival is there, and Matt, telling him to move over, uses his car to chase after the girl. Matt follows her into a back alley. There is a black limousine waiting there as she hands him a briefcase, only to be snatched up and taken into the limo. Matt needs to get back to the race when the FBI shows up. They chase him, but Matt loses them. The car gets resprayed and they head into an auto dealer that the rival owns, named Chevy Metal. They pull back into the race en route for Philadelphia, encountering cops on the way. He pulls into a hotel, waking up to the news displaying him as the FBI's most wanted suspect, and the building is surrounded by cops and the FBI. He makes a run for it and escapes with the help of his buddy driving a 250-mile-per-hour cargo truck. While in the truck, they see some more mobsters. They tap into the radio and find out where the mobsters are going. They also have the girl on board the truck. They were going to kill her, but Matt stops them at a farm. The mobsters get away, but Matt finds a Pagani Huayra in the barn. What the heck? Anyway, he chases the mobsters down and runs the car into the water. He jumps down to rescue the girl, but she already made it out. She asks Matt to drive back to the barn to pick up the briefcase she left there. While they drive to the briefcase, the girl tells Matt what she's been doing. The briefcase had the accounts of the mob for the past 10 years, which the FBI wants. But the girl could not escape the mob to give the FBI the case. So she arranged to give the briefcase to the mob, and she used the run as a cover to get to Chicago, only to be betrayed by them. They collect the briefcase and escape the mob. They get back into the race and win, only to be ambushed by cops, the FBI and the mob. They drive away when the girl gets an idea and throws the briefcase onto the road, causing the cops, the FBI and the mob to stop and get into a shootout. Matt asks the girl what's her name, and she tells him her name is Sofia DeMarco.
So, you gonna tell me your name now?
I guess so. It's Sophia. Sophia DeMarco.
Now this plot definitely has to be considered by Fast and Furious. I mean, the story is so over the top that Vin Diesel would get a high just reading the plot. It's also worth mentioning why both Jack in the original run and Matt in this run have a female accomplice that helps them during the run. No pun intended. Jack had Sam Harper, Matt has Sophia. In the original run, the prize money was 25 million, and Jack will get a 10% cut. In the Wii version, the price is 1 million, and the winner takes it all. And that's all the comparisons. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this story. Do check out my Need for Speed Story Series playlist, where I have covered the entire Need for Speed series stories in an easy to understand and digestible way. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you liked it. My name is Sai, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.